sinners to streetwise religion. Greed's the crown when you king. Hollywood cream teens, yesterday's flash screens. Save the blessings for the final ring. Amen. Take a ride on the wild side.
Karl fucking Sanders, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you want, Eric.
Okay. Welcome, Poison
Hey.
Rock fans. Welcome. We are here with Karl Sanders from Nile. Ada and me are going to interview you. So, Karl, thanks for being here with us. We would like to give a huge welcome from Poison Rock. And our first question is the following. Your sound in Nile is really particular. You go from death metal to brutal, you mix different styles. What makes Nile different from other bands that maybe play the same genre of music as you do?
Well, none of them sound like Nile. That's
Yeah.
the best way I can say
And
it.
why is that?
That's probably a philosophical debate that we could go back and forth. Why is that? What makes one band any different than another band?
Indeed.
Um, we worked very hard in the beginning uh, when we were first starting Nile to come up with something that we felt was our own, and that's what mattered to us. Because at the time, when we started, everyone else that was playing death metal was either a Cannibal or a Suffocation clone. Every band sounded like those two bands,
Yeah.
and we didn't want to do that. So we tried to find our own unique path, our own way of doing things, even our own guitar chord. Just our way of doing things, and right or wrong, whether it's not any better or any worse
Yeah,
than anybody else, but it is ours.
Yeah,
absolutely.
sure. So moving on. Since your songs are very culturally motivated, we would like to ask you what inspired you to write about ancient Egypt in your songwriting? Where did this came from? This love from sound Egypt. I mean,
At first, it was like a casual interest.
mhm.
Something I was just interested in. But one day, and this is a true story. I woke up and I looked in the mirror and I asked myself, if I were a metal fan listening to Nile, what would I want to hear from a band called Nile? I went,
Yeah,
okay,
because name.
okay. If it's a band called Nile and they're playing death metal, well, it should be, like should be vicious. It should be a little bit exotic. It should have some quiet things and some fucking heavy as the pyramid things. So that's kind of what inspired, what to write about and the direction to take. And the two really go really hand in hand.
Yes.
If you try to separate the two, I don't know that it works. It's written to be this, and that's what it is. It's a
Yes.
singular purpose.
Yes, and about that, I wanted to ask you about one of my favorite songs. So this is more personally questions. What about Sacrifice unto Cybeck? What inspired you to write that amazing, amazing song that inspired all my tattoos, basically?
Well, there's really two things that made that song what it was. Um, One was some books I had about ancient Egyptian crocodile worship, where they worship Cybeck, who's this big crocodile god. And the other was playing with George Colius. Um, because this was during Annihilation of the Wicked, and he had just joined the band. He had flown over the States. He was living at my apartment with me and my son. Uh, and we were talking, and George was like, "Yeah, man, there's no stopping our potential. We could do anything we wanted to. So I said, well, okay, George, how fast do you want to go? Do you want to go 250? Do you want to go 255? Do you want to go 260? And he asked me, well, how fast was the fastest Nile song on the last record? And I went, well, it was 261. He goes, well, let's go 265. I went, all right, motherfucker. I will write a song that's catchy as fuck, and we'll let you do, what it is you want to do here, and we'll see what we can do with it. And so we wrote the song, and it's very, very close to the way it got written. It's not a long song, but it's a fun song. When we play that, it's just ridiculous fun.
Okay. Another thing, apart from ancient Egypt, that is present in your songwriting are H.P. Lovecraft's novels, basically. Is this because he's always been one of your favorite writers, and are there also other writers that are favorites of yours?
Uh, Lovecraft, Robert Howard. He wrote the Conan books. He wrote the Cole books. He even wrote some Cthulhu mythos of his own.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if he has a collection. I have it.
Yeah.
It's really good. Tolkien. There's a lot more Tolkien in Nile than people realize, but Tolkien gets used by a lot of black metal bands, right?
Yes.
So if anything comes out of anything Tolkien, it's changed so that it's unrecognizable where it came from. But if you recognize the meter and the flow of his prose, you'll see there's some of it in what we do too.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
How do you not have Tolkien? If you're a metal band, how do you not have some in it? At least some. You have to.
Yeah. The influence is always there.
Yes.
Sure.
Definitely.
And of course, you've been a road, we can say that you collaborated with Morbid Angels. This historical band influenced your future vision on a musical level?
I'd have to say so. At the time, like 1985 or so, the metal I was playing wasn't that heavy when I met Morbid Angel. We didn't understand what underground death metal was. We didn't know. But David Vincent introduced me to a lot of fucking cool metal. But I really didn't understand any of it until I was staying at their house. I stayed with them for a month because I was playing a classical gig in the city where they were living in Charlotte. I needed a place to stay, right? So I would be there. So I got to see them rehearse every night for a month in their house. And I got to tell you, seeing Morbid Angel in 1985 was a fucking mind blower. I mean, I'm sitting in the room with them on a chair, and I could reach out and fucking touch them. That's how close it was. So it was in the room while all these songs that later became like the Altars of Madness record, they were working them out and rehearsing them, and the shit was just like, I'd never heard nothing like this. This was just way over my head.
Yeah.
I didn't fucking understand it. And it really changed my perception of what is possible with the heavy metal form. And there's a lot of things that are really possible within the idiomatic genre expression of everything that we think of as metal. And they blew that door wide open back then.
Mm.
That's amazing.
So apart from Morbid Angels, which other bands influenced Nile in general?
I'd have to say, there's always going to be a little bit of Carcass influence, although you don't necessarily hear it.
Carcass.
I love Carcass.
Me too. I love.
Yeah, and what nice guys too. Ridiculous. There's a lot of old school influences also in Nile that like maybe death metal listeners don't necessarily have in a familiar circle. Like I listen to a lot of Robin Trower as a
Mm.
guitar player. Um, like, and you'll hear that influence, like when I'm bending notes or touching the guitar. Just the way I touch the guitar and the way I express, it's comes from that Robin Trower kind of school where
Mm.
it's very emotional. You know, what you do is you're bringing out what's inside you and bringing it to the listener. So there's a lot of that in I think the music of Nile in various ways or another. There's also a lot of soundtrack music. A lot of
Oh.
the ideas that I steal are from movie soundtracks.
And which movies? We wanted to know that.
Yes.
Uh, Basil Pompadourus, his soundtrack to the original Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
Man,
Wow,
if you
amazing.
listen to it, it's like listening to a Nile record because you can just pick out, whoa, man, I heard that one. I heard that one.
Yeah.
This one. Yeah. The Alien soundtrack, that's got a lot of great shit in it. Yeah.
It's amazing. So moving on, what George Colliers like? What is the special role of George Colliers in Nile? Everybody think wants to know the answer of this.
Well, George has a very special role. Um, when he joined the band, he said, Carl, I'm going to be the last Nile drummer. So we'd had a few problems with drummers before George, but George said that. You know what? He fucking meant it. He meant it. That guy has been through thick and thin, like a true brother for 17 years now. When we
Oh,
want to make decisions about Nile, I talk to George. It's
beautiful.
George and I steering that boat together right now.
It's
Amazing.
like a brother friendship.
You gotta have brotherhood and friendship.
Yeah.
There's been times in Nile where we weren't brothers, and I think the music suffered for it.
Mm.
Um, but I think if you're gonna last, if you want your band to last, I think it's important to realize that these are people in your lives. And it's almost
Yes.
like being married. But you're not married to one person. You're married to four fucking people. There's four people that you got to care about
Yes.
and consider their feelings, what they want to do
Yeah.
with their lives, what makes them happy. Um, a lot of the trouble that we've had with some people in Nile over the years has been because of, we forgot about, hey, wait a minute, these are your brothers.
Yes.
You need to treat them like brothers and not be at war with them. Uh, you know, they deserve brotherhood.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
beautiful thought.
That is something that has grown to be. It's really rare these days, actually. So you need to appreciate it if you have it.
Yeah.
Hell
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So after Annihilation of the Wicked, what made Ithyphallic that special, mysterious, and intriguing?
uh, well, that's a really good question. And I would really agree. The music on Ithyphallic is some really special stuff. I don't think the production helped it. I think some of the production choices hurt it in the bigger picture. But musically, the ideas, the riffs, the playing, holy fucking shit. Um, when
Yes.
we did that one, we brought George over not just once, but we brought him over twice, each time for 8 weeks. The first time we just wrote like whatever whacked out stuff we thought we wanted to do, right? And then he went home and he worked on more of his ideas. Then he came back and we rehearsed another 8 weeks before we recorded that shit. So there was an insane amount of like developing those song ideas to be out there. Like
Yes.
normal stuff, fuck that. We're going to do whatever we want to do. Then the
Yes.
title, Ivy Valk, is reflective of that. You know, because it was pretty much a big fuck you to our former record label who were always telling us what to do. Well, we weren't on that label anymore, so no one could tell us what to do, not even us. We were just out there.
Yes.
And some people really love that record, and they kind of hear what we're, I think, trying to bring them. But I think the production on it, there were some mistakes made.
It will happen. I mean, after the release of an album, your fans consider you right now like a metal icon in extreme metal, and it's possible that we will see some artistic and musical evolution after vile nihilistic rights in the future.
I think so. I really believe in this new lineup and the creative potential, uh, especially because we were able to get everybody working together. You know, many times when bands are working against each other, it's sometimes hard to achieve anything that's really focused. And I think Biomelodic Rights, if anything else, it's very focused. Like, we know what we're doing, that's what we're doing, you know, and we're not distracted by anything. But I think, like, the new stuff that is being in the process of writing, and it's just the early stages, it's more like seeing where we can take the potential of these four creative people and take it the next step further.
So, yeah. Speaking of you being one of the pillars in the extreme metal scene, do you consider yourselves an influence for the new generation of extreme metal bands today?
uh, you know, I don't know. I like to think, you know, as the young bands that I hear, I hear a wealth of influences. You know, it's not just us, but a lot of different, you know, bands over the years that are contributing. You know, not just us. There's plenty of stuff. Like when I listen to Vitriol,
Mm.
right, which is a great band I really love. I hear lots of stuff. Man, I hear like a universe of
Yeah.
influences in their music. And if Nile was some small part of that, then that's pretty fucking cool. I feel like, okay,
Interesting.
maybe we did something. We did something. Um, that's saying something different though than there's times when somebody will send me a link. Hey, Carl, check out this Egyptian death metal band, and I go,
Oh my god.
well, okay, I'll
Here we
listen
go.
to it just to be nice. And
Yes.
I don't want to hear necessarily somebody take something verbatim. Like, if you get inspired by an idea, or you're borrowing an idea, or even if you're stealing an idea, I think it's important to do something new with it.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
so much music that has become throwaway, right? It's disposable. We have so much music that if you pick up a mouse, right, and you're
Yes.
listening online to whatever it is you're listening to, and in 2 seconds or 5 seconds or 10 seconds, depending on your mood, if you don't like it, you can click on something else.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how disposable music has become. I remember it was about 10 years ago. I was standing in Times Square doing some sightseeing because we were playing New York City that night. And some guy comes up to me on a street corner and tries to give me his band's CD. And I didn't want to take it because this is yet another CD somebody's trying to give me, and I got no pockets. And I'm in the middle of Times Square. I'm trying to have fun. It's my like 30 minutes that day that I get to have fun in New York City because I don't get to have a lot of fun. When you travel around, you go to this city or that city and your
Of
band is playing,
course.
Not
you might
most.
not have very much time to do anything.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I realized at that moment, this dude's trying to give me his CD. He probably put his life into this fucking thing, right? And he can't give it away, right? There are other people he was trying to give it to on the side of the street in New York,
Yeah.
and people in New York would just ignore him and keep walking. How disposable is music if you can't even give it to someone for free? And that's not
Yes.
even saying he might have had the greatest band in the fucking world. This might have been genius, revolutionary shit,
Yes.
and he couldn't give it away. What does
Absolutely.
that fucking say about the state of music in our time? You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't say anything good.
No. Definitely. Yeah. All you can do is basically, we all have influences, but you need to make it your own. That's the first
Yes.
thing you have to do. Otherwise, you get nowhere, I think.
Yes, sir.
Yes. You have to try always to be like innovative or try to be experimental at least. But nowadays it's really hard. It's really hard to be. So,
It has to come
Carl,
natural.
yes. So, Carl, did it change the musical style of the band when the new members join you in the past?
I don't think really that we've changed our style. With new guys playing, it's going to evolve, but I think the core values, our core philosophies, the underlying heart and soul of Nile is still the same. You can hear it. It's alive and well. So have we changed our style? Well, this is like putting on a pair of blue socks instead of putting on a pair of green socks. It's
Yeah.
still Nile. It's just got different socks on today.
Yeah, that's actually a good way of seeing it. So, something for potential new fans. If you had to choose right now a song or an entire album that you would recommend to potential new fans, which one would it be?
I'd pick the title track from the new record. If you're a metal fan, there is gonna be something in that track that you'll like. I guarantee it. I'll bet my life on it.
Okay.
So you said this one it's just for you, Carl. If you had to choose five albums from the entire metal and rock history, which ones would you pick up and why?
So, from the entire history of metal
Yes,
and
yes,
rock.
just you have
Okay.
completely you can choose what you want or why.
Surgical Steel. That's got to be on there. I love that carcass.
Always.
Altars of Madness. Um, Led Zeppelin 2.
Oh, yeah. Good choice.
Uh, Sabbath Paranoid.
Third.
Yeah. Or maybe Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Or, I don't know, maybe Sabotage. Or Volume 4. I don't know. But a Sabbath record's going to motherfucking be on there. Um, the Scorpions, Virgin Killer.
Oh my god,
I don't
amazing.
think I can live without that record.
I
Yeah.
agree. I can agree more.
Um, one more. What do I gotta have? Fuck, that's a tough one. Um, Annihilation of the Wicked.
Yes,
Yes. I was
I
waiting for
can agree
that.
more than that. I will choose the one the same too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have any future projects, possibly specific live shows, anything?
Actually, all of our shit's been canceled. We had
Yes.
a springtime tour in Australia, New Zealand, and Japan.
Wow.
That got canceled. All our summer festivals canceled. We have a big fall tour in the United States, Canada, and Mexico coming up. It's not canceled yet, but I see it being canceled.
Bro.
I mean, I don't see how. I just don't see how.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so, yeah. that means everything's been postponed until 2021. I get
Yeah,
notices in my email going, we're going to postpone this till 2021. Is that okay
yeah.
with you? Well, it's not necessarily
It's not
okay with
okay.
me, but what the fuck do you want me to do about it? There's
Yes.
nothing I can do. So, okay, fuck you,
Okay.
but okay.
Okay, so we are at the end right now. So just most of the questions are they are written by our friend and collaborator Domenico Costa. There is a really huge fan of you. So
Okay.
he will be really happy if you just can send him a message, just greetings to him, whatever you want to say, because he really,
What's his
really
name?
Domenico.
Lamenico.
Domenico.
Flamenco.
No.
Domenico. With a D.
Domenico.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right. Hey, what's up, Domenico? Fuck yeah.
Okay. So, and at the end, for all your fans, for all your friends, which message would you send to them?
I would say stay true, be good to yourselves. Metal will come back around. We just got to
Sure.
survive long enough to go back into the good life. But it will come back. And the people that are true, that are metal, that persevere,
Yeah.
will be there and we'll be there together. So don't lose hope, don't lose faith.
Okay. Okay, so I think we are basically in the end, and thank you, Carl, for doing this interview with us. That it was like a dream of a lifetime for me, and a quick hello for our fans this time, for our PoisonedRock fans, and if we have it, I'm still wondering. So thank you for everything, and I hope
No,
to see
thank
you
you.
really, really live soon.
Thank you. You guys are great. It's been so much fun. It's been a
And it
great way
was
to
my
start my
Thank you so
day.
much.
thank you. It's been
Yes.
amazing. Bye, Carl. And thank you
Cheers.
for the ideas for my tattoos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao.
Take a ride on the wild side. I carry my crucifix under my necklace. Forward my mail to me in hell. Liars and martyrs lost faith in the Father. Lord lost in the wishing well. Take a ride in wild side.